This is Alyssa, and I'm going over competitive settings for Scylla roles and pros and cons to why or not I think any certain setting is competitive. Shout out to Ward for this video idea, and let's get to it. So I'm going to be going over Cell's lobby settings from the Cell's Bob Said group. One of the things that drew me to this to Cell's lobby was that I just completely agreed with her on like 99% of all settings, and I'll go over the disagreements in the video. But we basically have almost like the exact same opinion on most things related to like settings. So let's get to it. So there's a lot of different presets in Stellar roles with already made settings, but we're going to be going over Stellar's lobby settings, which are already here. So let's go through the first page. So one of the important things is allowing parallel medbay scans and disabling medbay animations. This is really important because medbay provides clears that aren't deduction based, and this essentially just removes that that issue where people get cleared for essentially just doing a task. We also removed event cleaning ejections for like Skeleton Mira because that's kind of like a gotcha to imposters. Stellar Roles is all about balancing fun with like gotchas to imposters where you just get like caught by like RNG. Catching an imposter by vent cleaning is RNG. Shield, last game, first kill. This is one of the ones that I think I've like debated with Stell and before, where it's nice to have it if you get killed first or a lot early, like me or Stell, but it also can make the game less competitive because you can't do the kill you planned on doing especially if you have like a setup, like if you say on one side of the map and you vamp to the other side of the map and that person just happens to be shielded. It just is a little bit unfortunate because that just ruined like the game potentially. Hiding obstructed player names, that's the setting you always want on, because like if they use the bathroom vent in labs, their name no longer pops over it, instead of just not being able to use that vent with lights on. Being able to have the hide obstructed player names, like not having the name show through the walls, I think just makes the game more competitive, because I really don't think you should be able to see names through walls. And hiding vent animations out of vision, this is for Skeleton and Mira, so you no longer see like the vent pop, which was always really annoying, like because like it gives too much confirmation to crew. Admin table on Mira to me is just too broken to have it where you can just use it all the time, because if you like, it's so easy to catch people venting on Mira by looking on admin table, because you see someone venting all across the map because all the vents are connected. You could just like clear half the lobby for Beacon office with you at the time. So we normally have like, you have to finish 10 tasks before you can use admin on Mira. Scaled cams are also kind of broken. So I think she has it where you have to do at least 6 tasks before you get on cams. This is something I differ with Stell with a little bit. I think you should have all your tasks done on scaled before using cams, but 6 I think is better than nothing. And we also both agree that no cameras first round on like all maps. So like on Polis, we now have a setting where you can't get on cameras round 1 even if you wanted to. And even on some random map rotations. So for imposter roles, we always have 2 roles with 2 assassins. Number of shots per meeting is 3. Can't guess crewmate. So normally Bomber isn't really a competitive imposter role, so we don't play with it on. Morphling is standard. Changeling standard. Miner, we play with miner vents active after the meeting. There's a setting where you could have it before the meeting, but that's a little bit more chaosy than after the meeting. After the meeting, like allows you to like plan and drop vents when you're near people, versus having to kind of be careful and dropping vents when no one's looking. I think it potentially either could be played competitively though. Wraith is on this kind of reasonable settings. Shade is on with evidence. Duration 30. This allows like for like you see that like those like eyes, the black eyes on the ground, and when the shade uses the evidence. Undertaker, we have it so that you can't, like, if you kill someone, you have to wait 3 seconds over the body to be able to drag it. That's a way of balancing the roll. Also in competitive lobbies, we don't have it on where you can vent while dragging the body. For Bounty Hunter, we have like the kill cooldown after bounty is 17.5. In a lot of chaos lobbies, it'll be like 5. And the penalty is only an additional 7.5 seconds. This makes it so like Bounty Hunter is similar to another to like just like vanilla imposter with like some bonuses for killing targets, your specific targets. I think 17.5 just makes it more fair. I think I used to play with it on 10 seconds, and that was a little bit OP. Neutral killers. And competitive, modded, you really just can't play with neutral killers. Like, you can't play with them. Like, the imps will just get RNG killed the first round, potentially. So, yeah, just everything's off. For neutrals, Jester, we have Jester can call emergency meeting off, Jester can enter vents on, Jester lighter vision on, and Jester lights off vision 0.5. We have it though that the Jester should not be hard accusing the imposter, otherwise, because it counters their win conditions, and that's a house lobby rule. We have it, also, this is actually one of the settings that me and Stell differ on, is Jester calling an emergency meeting. I think they should be able to call an emergency, but only in a situation where it would be game saving. Versus, she just says they can never have it on. But, like, I see her point with that, because some people will just, like, chaos button on, like, 9 or 8. I just prefer to just, like, say that as, like, a house rule to not, like, to only be using your button for game-saving buttons, because if they're shotting quick bodies in specimen, you can't go and report that body in specimen because you just lose. So you can Jester, and so any crewmate would button, and you can get sussed for buttoning because, like, you're hiding bodies potentially. But yeah. Arsonist, we have a kind of standard settings for TOR. We have it so you can disable it on Mira, because Mira just makes Arsonist too easy, because there's a lot of like stacking involved on Mira, especially early rounds. So for Romantic, we kind of like, this is not really a competitive role, but we've been playing with it anyway, trying to like figure out a way to make it competitive, because we all really like the role. We have it so that Romantic knows the target instantly, and the target knows they're selected after the next meeting, so that like they can't just like instantly know who their Romantic is and have that like hard clear. You can wiggle on them after the meeting and they'll probably get the idea, but they don't learn until after the meeting. We also have the meeting indicators of, like, the heart and broken heart in the meeting. This is just so that the crew knows about, like, getting vote blocked, or why some, like, funny clears might be happening, because, oh, by the way, there's a Romantic, with, like, loving imposters in, like, Town of Us. Like, sometimes, like, these weird things are happening and you're not really sure why, which can indicate lovers, but just having the confirmation that there's a Romantic, I think, makes it more competitive, because sometimes you just don't really think of lovers, and it just puts it in people's minds, and I think it just makes it a lot more fair. And so for crewmates, Vigilante, this is something I actually used to, this is another thing I used to disagree with about Stell, under one condition. When I joined the lobby, we only had Evil Guesser and one imposter role, so people with Vigilante would just do like 50-50s, where if someone was sus at all, they just guess them as evil guesser because it had a 50% chance of being right if they were an imposter. I really, really hated that, and still kind of I think me and Stella like kind of like didn't really agree on that, and until I think eventually she actually came to the same conclusion. Yeah, like the 50-50s were kind of lame. But once we added that all imposters can guess, and there wouldn't just be a default 50-50 like evil guesser, and they had to guess a specific role, it became like I'm now down with it because it's more deduction based and less like just guess evil guesser for a 50-50. For Parody Cop, we have like settings where like crewmate killers can be grouped with non-crew. This is kind of the only thing that's like different. So like this has like the sheriff and the vigilante being grouped with like imposters, just because we don't want it to be like too much of a. We want there to be some like kind of like problem solving as Parody Cop, knowing that even if two players don't match, they could potentially be on the same team. You just have to kind of like really like figure out what's going on, and I think that we'll probably always play with that on. And fake out is something I turn off for chaos lobbies because I don't want to explain it. It's just kind of a way to mess with imposters as Parody Cop and try to cover yourself from getting guessed. I don't really want to go into like figuring out explaining it fake out now. Again, you should watch my Parody Cop video, but even then it's still a little bit confusing, which is why I normally just turn it off for chaos lobbies. We have like for mayor, they can see votes after like 10 tasks because that's very powerful, so they have to do a lot of tasks. For engineer, we don't have the remote fix because it's really like she seldom like how and I also agree with this completely, that like if the imposters like played well and they got someone voted out, them just being able to like, they should be able to win and not just like have the like sabotage be able to be remote fixed. We have engineers can vent on, but we also have the evil killers can see vent highlighted on. I think to me that's one of my favorite things about differences about like the other roles in Town of Us is that you can see the vents highlighted as a killer, so you can't just get like RNG caught by the engineer who was camping the vent outside of cams, waiting for someone to kill on cams, because as imposter you want to kill the person on cams. It just that like the vent camping was so lame, so the vent highlights to me really balances that because they can kind of figure out who isn't in the vent, and it encourages engineers to not like vent super frequently or stay the whole round in an event. So we have sheriff misfires. Stell has it where like they can basically kill all neutrals. I used to kind of play with Jester couldn't be killed, which I'm honestly fine with both ways at this point. I'm kind of used to it now with like sheriff can kill Jester. I can kind of see both points, but I'm kind of used to it this way now. I don't really think there's like a pro or con to each. Now that Jester can vent, it makes like sheriff can kill Jester a lot more fair. Just because like you're supposed to be sus, and when you get sheriff, you're actually like you're playing your job correctly. But now that you can vent, you can escape the sheriff. Guardian, this is one that's probably like different. So I think Stella actually was I think one of her really good ideas was to show the shielded player to everyone. This is so that everyone knows that someone has been guardian shielded, so when like they're planning out a kill or a double kill, they can't get screwed up by someone just being guardian shielded and they don't know about it because they can't see it and they have to try to kill them first. So being able to have the guardian shield showed to everyone, I think just makes it a lot more fair to imposters. We have it so that the shield is visible after the next meeting, so you can get shielded, and the next round you'll have have the shield, so it makes it more clear. And you also can't use that as hard clear yourself by just wiggling over someone and them getting a shield. You could also have it like where they only show it to the shielded player plus the guardian. I don't think that's competitive because it can screw over imposters. So I really like it where everyone can see the shielded player, and where it shows up after the next meeting, so we don't get like, if you get guardian shielded, you still have to kind of figure out who your guardian is. There's some like, who would shield you, like who moved over you. Guardian sees murder attempts. Honestly, I would just remove the setting completely, but she keeps it on for chaos lobbies, which I get. I hate this setting. At least, yeah, because it's just, because, like, I hate this setting just because, there's really no counter to it at all. Like, besides just killing the Guardian. And, like, the previous Town of Us, like, if you did, like, you could, like, break the shield. Like, what, versus, like, here, the shield is, like, always permanent and it can't be broken. So if you're just murdering someone, they can just be like, who's right next to you right now? They're trying to kill you. Versus, like, at least, when the shield was breakable, you could potentially have, like, a chance to, like, kill them, like, before the medic buttoned. I think Cell also plays with Swapper cannot fix critical sabotages. I'm down with that. I think her reasoning is that Swapper is just a really powerful role. This is how it can be kind of sussed. And like, yeah, I'm down with that. I don't really have an issue with it. I did like push to add the setting just because I know that like some lobbies just prefer to not have it. Prefer for Swapper to be able to fix non-critical sabotages, but I'm also fine not playing with it on. Like, it's not something. It's something I kind of I agree with. We have it so that for like administrator, medic, and I think watcher, we have it where there's some settings where like you can disable round 1 access. This is really good for like competitive lobbies because like admin, vitals, and cams round 1 is very powerful. So being able to disable it for a round gives the imposters more of a chance to get that first kill, and on higher numbers it can be really hard to get that first kill. We also talked earlier about how administrator is so powerful on Mira, or admin table is so powerful on Mira, that we have an option just to turn it off on Mira because it's still very powerful. For medic, we also have the disable access round 1. I think for watcher, we also have a like turn off watcher on skilled because skilled cams are pretty broken. Yeah. So tracker, we have enable meeting overlays. So this is really helpful because only evil players will see like the meeting overlays. This is really helpful because like it just helps with the gotchas where you are tracked and you don't know about it, and so you claim somewhere else. Like, this lets you like know that it kind of helps you form your story before you're asked, and just makes it less RNG for imposters that they were like randomly tracked and they didn't know about it. Watcher, trap duration. Like, most of these are just kind of just like your opinion. Like, it's nothing I feel really strongly about. It's just like, how many traps do you want for a game? And we have like numbers that we think are reasonable. Like tasks for jailers or jail people, like how many expects per round. It's just whatever you really think is reasonable and fair. Nothing else is really like very critical, and kind of is up to interpretation. So yeah, we have so I hope you found this helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and Word, I hope you enjoyed the video.